Moses is walking the backside of the desert in his Egyptian clothing. And he sees a bush burning that is not consumed. And he goes to see what it takes to burn a bush with no ashes. And as he kneels down next to it, he hears the voice of God. And God says, slip your shoes from off your feet. The ground you stand on is holy. Watch what I'll do in your generation. And I'll lift you up. And I'll make you a redeemer for my people. It's a call to adventure. And to do so, you're going to have to leave behind the fine linen of Egypt. And you're going to have to lay aside the pleasures of sin for a season. And you're going to have to forget about the heritage of what you had. And you're going to have to go be something you don't understand to help a people that many times won't care for your help. But the great adventure Moses has is, if you do this, I'll deliver an entire nation. That's an adventure. It's Gideon pressing wheat by the wine press. Nobody presses wheat in a wine press. You press grapes in a wine press. Gideon is the quintessential Old Testament coward. Gideon hides even when no one's chasing him. You're pressing wheat in a wine press. You're pressing it somewhere. What if they come to find you pressing wine? They'll find you pressing wheat. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but he's hiding out, and there is no general in Israel to lead and deliver God's people. And an angel shows up and says, Gideon, I'll make you a mighty man. And Gideon looks around and goes, me? How could it possibly be me? And God says, if you'll accept the challenge, I'll deliver the people from subjugation. It's a great adventure. It's going to cost you your cowardice. You say, oh, we'd love to get rid of our cowardice. Would we? Getting rid of our cowardice means meeting our fear. Meeting our fear is the reason we have fear in the first place. And it's the reason why it's easier to not meet our fear. Just to accept the lot that we have in life. Jonah, get up from Joppa and go to Nineveh. And when you get there, deliver a message. It's a call to adventure. A great revival can happen. Gentiles can get saved. No animal sacrifice. I'll forgive them in a new covenant way, in an old covenant world. You get to be the original apostolic reformer. All you have to do is go, but instead, you can buy a ticket and go to Spain and run from God. There's a lot you have to give up to go to Nineveh, including your hatred for people of other races and other ideologies, because you really wish Nineveh would die. That's Jonah's problem. When he arrives, he says, I know that if I preach, you'll forgive them, and I don't want you to forgive them. And Jonah's a lot like a lot of us that goes, you know what? If too many people get this grace, they'll be forgiven, and I really think they need to get what's coming to them. And that's a tough challenge. It's all essentially a call to adventure. It culminates in the New Testament when Jesus walks onto the boat with Peter and says to Peter, come follow me. I'll make you fishers of men. It's going to cost you. Your fishing days are over with. The boat you saved for your entire professional career, you're not going to use it any longer. You're going to be a man out of his element. What worked for you out here bossing people around on fishing boats won't work for you in there. You're going to find that out the hard way. But if you'll come follow me, man, what could occur? And then the New Testament gives you the ultimate expression of it in metaphoric language. I think this story really happens. Jesus walks on the water, but it really happening doesn't mean near as much to you as it metaphorically happening. What do I mean by that? It really happened. Have you walked on the water? So how much has Jesus walked on the water helped your life? But the fact that Jesus invites Peter out of the boat, now that's your whole world. Because when he invites Peter out of the boat, it's God saying to you, there's something in the unknown. There's solid ground where there appears to be no solid ground. I can do things you can't imagine can be done that are unimaginable and inexplicable. But to do it, you got to swing your leg out of the boat and come follow me. The Bible's call to faith is essentially a call to adventure. Now here's what we've done with that in Christianity, and I think this is unfortunate, and I think this is to our disadvantage. In Christianity, we presented the call of faith a lot like this. Come to Jesus, or you'll go to hell. Now, That may not have been exactly the way you heard it, and if you're in a Grace Church and you were here from the day you met Jesus, you probably didn't hear it that way, because we didn't learn how to preach that way from the Apostle Paul. Let me repeat that. I'll say it slowly. You didn't learn how to tell people, come to Jesus or you go to hell, by reading the Apostle Paul's letters. He never says it. For Paul, it's not about where you'll go, it's about what will come to you. So rather than saying to people, let me pause there for a moment. Let me underpin this with one more thing. So I give you the biblical stories. But did you know this transcends the Bible? This is actually, if I could say it this way, it's bigger than the Bible. You yearn for adventure stories. You love them. It's why Hollywood is a multi-billion and hundreds of billions and maybe trillion-dollar industry. Because the stories that make the most sense are people that give something up and go kill a dragon. And along the way, they meet a lot of people. And when they're done killing the dragon, they bring what they have found back to their community and make it better. It's in almost every story we have in written literature for the last 4,000 years. Odysseus crosses the ocean and fights all kinds of mythical beasts, only to return home and have yet another journey before he finally gets to come home and be the hero on his home island. It's so deeply embedded in us, we don't know any other way to tell them. Bilbo Baggins leaves the Shire at the advice of a kindly old gray-haired gentleman who walks alongside of him in the shadows along the way. Along the way, he's given amulets and rings and stuff to help. And when he gets to the mountain, he has to kill a dragon and then bring back what he finds to the Shire to change the world he lives in. We love those stories. You go, what's that have to do with me? Harry Potter has a snake in a basement in a castle, and he's the only guy on earth that knows how to kill that dragon. Oh, you can't use Harry Potter in a sermon. Why? You've already watched the movie. You already read the book. Why does that resonate with us? Because it speaks something. Pinocchio has a cricket that takes him into the belly of a whale to save his father, the image of himself. Simba has a shaman monkey that takes him down into the jungle and says, look into the water. And when he looks, he beholds the face of his father and realizes who he is. You know why those stories mean so much to us? Because they're exactly what the Bible is preaching to you. That God has called you on a great adventure, and that somewhere along the way, if you'll follow him, you'll transform.